Whatever idea you were just like right before you started shooting.
A group of about 40 teens gathers on a street in front of quaint shops. They wear costumes of red, white, and black, sports tops, and shorts. The girls wear red ribbons in their hair. The name across the chest in white letters on red reads Cheer SF. A girl with long brown hair waves at the camera.
All right, here we go. It's Cheer SF, breaking barriers.
Cheerleaders do backflips and lifts.
We are Cheer San Francisco, the official cheer team of the city and county of San Francisco. We have been raising spirits, awareness, and funds in the Bay Area since 1980.
6 girls balance on the hands of their teams on one foot. They spin through the air and land in their arms.
High-flying acrobatics and awe-inspiring performances motivate crowds to donate to our 501c3 nonprofit.
The groups perform high tosses between them, cartwheels and flips.
The talented and energetic performers you see are also philanthropic volunteers. The tangible impact of our charitable contributions can bring a smile to anyone's face. Cheer San Francisco has donated nearly $500,000 to community causes in its lifetime.
A young man signs, "What's within you is stronger than what's in your way." He signs, "Wait," and signs more emphatically, "What's within you is stronger than what's in your way." He grins, a tie-in of how our 2 organizations work similarly. So please clap, stomp, and cheer with us. He signs again more emphatically, "Come on! Clap, stomp, and cheer with us while we cheer for you." Each cheerleader is filmed at their home.
I know barriers. Here we go.
Here we go, here we go. Cheer from home. I break barriers. Here we go, here we go. Cheer from home. I break barriers. Here we go, here we go. Cheer from home. I break barriers.
Thanks, No Barriers. Have a great summit.
Let's go, No Barriers. Happy Summit.
I know Barriers. Have an amazing summit.
On the web, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, at Cheer San Francisco, at Cheer SF, hashtag Cheer SF, hashtag Cheer for Life, cheersf.org.
Woo! Welcome back, No Barriers. My name is Dave Sherna, and I am the Executive Director and co-founder of No Barriers. I'm going to be your MC for today, just like yesterday. We are thrilled to have you back to our No Barriers Summit presented to you by Wells Fargo. I hope you're all rested and ready for the day. We have so much more in store for you on day 2. I want to say a quick word of thanks to Cheer SF. That was pretty cool. We've had books written about us, we've had songs written for us, we've had podcasts, videos, but I think that was the very first time we've ever had a custom cheer for No Barriers. Wow, thank you so much. This group not only is its own charitable foundation, but they have cheerleaders ranging in age from 18 all the way up to 52. Their mission is to inspire, entertain, and to amaze audience through their powerful performances while challenging others to be their best and supporting organizations that strengthen their communities. Thank you, Cheer SF. As a very quick reminder for those of you who were here yesterday or are joining us for the first time today, we have some incredible accessibility tools for you to use if you need them. All sessions will be audio described, captioned, or described using American Sign Language. We are also happy to announce that we have live audio description services provided by Ira for free. Please visit our main reception page to find the steps on how to use this incredible service. If you have any trouble during the event, if you have any questions, if you just want to chat, you can always go to our information booth in the expo area, which is brought to you by Zappos customer service team. Before we get into the day, I want everyone to stop what you're doing. I'd love you to get out your phones and take a picture of yourself where you are right now. We are all in our homes, maybe on a computer, maybe on a device. I want you to take a picture of yourself, and we'd love for you to post it to your social channel of choice using the tag @NoBarriersUSA so we can make a roundup of all of these amazing people that are joining us from all around the world. Now, Let's get on to today's events. You're gonna see some unbelievable performances from our ambassador and America's Got Talent winner, Mandy Harvey, America's Got Talent Season 14 winner, Cody Lee, the winner of the Mirror Ball on Dancing with the Stars, J.R. Martinez, Casey Harris, keyboardist for Ex-Ambassadors, and Karamo Brown, activist and culture expert on the Netflix reboot of Queer Eye. We'll also be touching on some very important issues in the diversity, disability, and intersectionality panel brought to you by Wells Fargo. And if that isn't enough, we'll end our day with what we call No Barriers Live. This is an event not to be missed. We're gonna hear from Josh Blue, comedian and winner of NBC's Last Comic Standing, and we're gonna start dancing with Magic Giant. For those of you who were here yesterday, you may recall that we also have a painting being done by John Bramblett. We're gonna see that painting in No Barriers Live at the end of the day, and we're gonna be auctioning it off to the highest bidder. We also have some surprise announcements that you're gonna wanna stay around for. I'm thrilled to experience each and every one of these impressive speakers and performers, just like yesterday, which was awesome, but I couldn't go without noting the heart and soul of the No Barriers Summit experience, which is our activities. I hope you enjoyed them yesterday. They're gonna be incredible today. Today, you have so many to choose from, including a drumming class where you can learn to drum to our No Barriers life elements, painting with our awe-inspiring friend Grace Fisher, whose paintings will also be available at the auction at the end of the day. You might choose to learn to live a Zen warrior life with Sam Morris, or even learn a little bit about adaptive running and walking taught by Paralympians who will share the latest tools and strategies to improve your walking and running. Don't forget, if you miss any activity or want to try them all, don't worry, because you can have access to them all in our No Barriers membership community. In fact, I noticed that many of you went on last night and joined that membership community, and some of you even started some of our courses in there. This is not just a place to go replay the activities from the past 48 hours. It's a place where you can get new courses, active live discussions with our community, as well as live content every week. Many people over the years have asked us to not make the summit be a one and done event. This is the place you go to maintain and grow the No Barriers community. I also noticed that some of you went and purchased our new book that released on Tuesday. We had to pull some strings to make it available to all of you for 99 cents on Amazon, but check it out at What's Within You. Search for What's Within You on Amazon. Now, a few quick announcements before we get to our next speaker. Make sure you check out our expo booths, where you can learn from many of our partners and sponsors and find great resources and information. My personal favorite, though, of course, is the No Barriers store, where you can purchase things like this great shirt that has our tagline on it, "What's within you is stronger than what's in your way." I pulled out a few items here. Nice bag. And we've got, what else do we have in here? Whoa, we've got yoga pants. What else might we find? Oh, great pullover. You might have seen me wearing one of these yesterday. And anything else? Oh yeah, flags. These flags are a symbol of our No Barriers community. We get pictures of them from all around the world. You can get your own flag there. Much more stuff, hats, blankets, whatever you might need to proudly display your No Barriers pride. And we also have options to purchase gift cards for friends and family. That was my sales pitch. I hope you enjoyed it. Now I want to shift gears for a minute. For those of you who participated in our meditation yesterday, led by Sam Morris, he asked us, he challenged us to set our intentions for what we wanted to get out of our experience. If you were not able to join that session, I want you to stop for a moment now and think about what you would like to get out of this event. Why are you here today? It's a Saturday. What are you going to get out of this Saturday, and why? What do you hope to achieve? In every event, every main stage session, every activity you do today, I want you to take those intentions with you and the goals that you have for yourself. Before every new thing you do today, think about what you want to accomplish, what you want to learn, and how you plan to bring your whole self to each adventure. Bring your best self. That's what we ask people to do at No Barriers. A self open to learning, growing, trying new things, and stretching outside of your comfort zone. One of our No Barriers ambassadors is an absolute pro at setting his intention and reaching his goals. I'd like to introduce you to our next speaker, a good friend of mine, J.R. Martinez. In case you don't know him, he is a best-selling author, an actor, a motivational speaker, an advocate, and a wounded U.S. Army veteran. After hitting a roadside bomb while on active duty, JR suffered burns to 34% of his body, which resulted in many surgeries. During his recovery, he learned that inspiration is really a two-way street. And so now he devotes himself to showing others the true value of making the most out of every situation. He's a true alchemist, in our own words. And now, JR, over to you.
Thank you so much, Dave. Hello, No Barriers community. It is so great to be with you guys again, although it looks a lot different than what we've experienced. But this year has been very different than what we've all experienced. We've all had to learn how to adapt, how to overcome, and I believe that happens when we all check in with one another and find ways to stay connected and utilize this incredible technology that we have in order to be able to do that very thing. This is the time for us to check in on a friend, check in on that person on your rope team, check their mental state, check their emotional state, check out where they are spiritually, making sure everybody's okay. Physically, we're limited depending on where you live, but emotionally, mentally, spiritually, that's where we all have to continue to exercise, our minds, our hearts, our faith, and to be able to still find ways to be motivated and inspired to go out there and prove to the world that whatever label they've placed on us, that we are more than that label. And I am one of the many examples of removing a label, but it's not something that I've just done one time in my life. I've had to continuously make that, choice and to make that payment, as you will, about life in order to get to the place that where I am today. It's easy to look at me 17 years after the fact that I was injured and say, look at the things that JR is doing. I would love to be in that position to speak to those audiences. But the reality is, a lot of you are seeing me already 5,000 steps ahead. A lot of you aren't aware of the point in my life when I had to take 5 steps, and then 250 steps, and then 750 steps, and then 1,500 steps and 2,000 steps, right? Like a lot of you just kind of see sections and certain milestones. And I want to share a little bit of how that journey has been for me and how it continues to be challenging for me, because the things that I experienced early on in my recovery process are very different than what I'm experiencing now at this course of my life and the challenges that I face now, both professionally and personally. So one of the questions that I get pretty frequently is, how did you get into doing this work and to becoming a speaker? I didn't grow up thinking that I wanted to be a speaker. I didn't think you could make money off of being a speaker. I thought that was specifically for pastors and politicians. I didn't think there were many people that could make a living by speaking to audiences around the world. I've been very blessed, but it started 6 months after I was injured. I was recovering, going through the motions at the hospital, when one of the nurses asked me to visit a patient who was having a difficult time understanding and coming to accepting his new reality. And I remember going into his room and speaking to him for the first time and realizing I was able to have a little bit of a positive impact on him. And then quickly I just said, well, this feels good. I want to start visiting other patients. And that's what I started to do. I started visiting other patients. And as I started to visit these patients, I suddenly found that feeling again that I loved when I was in the military, which was that feeling of service. I loved when I was in the military serving. That was my purpose. I wanted that to be my life's mission. And when I was injured, of course, that was taken away because I wasn't going to be able to stay in the United States Army. And that was tough. That was challenging. And I guess I tell people my identity was taken away from me. Well, both of them, actually. My physical appearance was taken away from me. And then my identity as a young man, because I was 19 when I was injured, of wanting to be of service and wanting to be in this uniform and wanting to give back to this country. And as I started visiting these patients, I found that ability to serve again. And as much as I was intending to try to give to the patients and help them, I quickly realized they were doing so much for me. They were giving me the gift. And that started a lot of my interest in visiting patients and becoming comfortable speaking to people about my experience and the challenges that I faced and continue to face at that point in my life. And what it did is it allowed me to emotionally heal to a certain point, which was important because physically I was being put back together, but emotionally and mentally I was not. So it just created this element of where I was able to communicate my feelings and share with them and find community. But I was only able to find that community because I was willing to be vulnerable. And I believe that in vulnerability, you find community. But first you have to be willing to take that plunge to trust yourself and trust that the people you are speaking to and sharing this information with, they're not going to take it and judge it and then throw it away and shatter it or use it against you, that they're going to take that information and then embrace it, accept it, and then say, this is how I relate to this. And this is what I can do, what I can offer to help you through that phase and that process. So I find this newfound purpose and mission because the more I started talking to these patients and their families, I found out about a lot of the gaps that existed when it came to taking care of our service members. I got involved with the nonprofit. I became an advocate for that nonprofit, started raising awareness. Again, it was tapping into service and my purpose. And the more that I started speaking on behalf of this nonprofit, I was 20 years old. I was doing press. I was speaking in a lot of different places on TV. And I started to feel comfortable being in front of an audience because I was speaking my truth. I was speaking the truth of so many service members. So it wasn't that challenging or difficult for me to get on the stage and speak to people or get on TV and speak to people because it's what I knew. It was my truth. It was our truth. I wasn't trying to speak about something that I was not aware of. I've lived it. I was living it, and I was learning about it through other people's journeys. So that's what allowed it to come naturally to a degree. But then I started studying myself. I started, really analyzing the way that I communicated. And, this came in sections. I would study my speeches, study interviews that I would do that were like 3, 4, 5-minute interviews. Or maybe if there was a 10-minute interview, I studied it. And I tried to figure out the best way that I can articulate the information that I was trying to share with people. So I was my toughest critic, which all of us are. We are always our toughest critic. And I just found ways to dive in and do the work. Well, I started doing it. I continued to do this work as I was going through the hospital, through the recovery process. And I started to then realize, wait, I want to be a speaker. Because the first time I got asked to speak at an event that was not predominantly military, I was nervous because I thought to myself, how are these people who have never been in my situation going to be able to relate to me? And needless to say, that when I stepped off of the stage, and again, I was really green, I had really no prepared remarks, but when I stepped off of the stage, a lot of people shared some positive feedback and how they could relate to me. And yet the challenges that they were facing were very different than the challenges that I was facing at that point in my life. But people found the commonality that, oh, this is what connects every single one of us. Fast forward a little bit, almost 3 years after being in the hospital, I started to get out of the hospital and I had this newfound purpose. This was my goal. I wanted to be a motivational speaker. I was introduced to this possible new career. And I just assumed at 22 years old, when I got out of the Army, that I was going to just take off, that everybody was going to call me, everybody was going to book me, I was going to be all over the world. And it didn't happen that way. A lot of people put me in a box and they said that I'm better off just speaking to veterans. That's what they said to me. And that was tough. That was challenging to be rejected because I was putting myself out there and I was kind of my own agent, my own publicist, and my own manager, just having to lobby for myself and advocate for an opportunity. That's all I wanted, because I felt that my message and what I believed about life and what I had learned in 3 years since my injury, I can share it with people, and I felt that it would be of use to individuals. But people didn't see that same value. They didn't understand it. And that was really tough. And I'll be 100% transparent with you, because I believe, again, in vulnerability, you find community. So I'm 22 years old. I'm now out of the military. I'm getting constant rejection from a lot of people. And I become incredibly bitter. I become angry. I become resentful. I'm drinking. And as most of us know, all that does is it's going to escalate the emotions. And I was just really an unpleasant kid to be around at 22, 23, 24 years old, where one moment I would put on this beautiful smile. Okay, how narcissistic, JR, this beautiful smile. But I would just put on this smile in front of the, whatever audience that I was in, or in front of on television. But then I would go back to my room and I would just be angry and upset, and I would scream and I would cry, and I would sit in a dark room and just listen to music and sit there and write and journal. That's all I would do. That was a really challenging time for me. And I tell people that I'm lucky to be in the position that I'm in today because of the fact that I survived not only what happened to me in Iraq, but I survived a lot of the situations I put myself in during that 3-year period from when I got out of the military. And it wasn't until my best friend one day, and this is the first time that I really felt like I'd found a community. And this is the first time that I felt like I really maybe not the first time, because I believe the first time I really experienced this component of vulnerability, you'd find community, is when I started speaking about my issues related to my recovery, and a lot of issues related to veterans and recoveries and a transition in the civilian world. I found community there. But the second time, where it was more about me, there was no safety net about talking about veterans issues. I think that was always a way to be embraced and accepted in any room, is because I served in the military. So I had that natural ability of being accepted. But now I was being challenged by somebody, and it wasn't about my military service. It was about me as a person. It was about who I had started to become. And it was my best friend sitting me down one day and challenging me to break the cycle, challenging me to deal with a lot of the emotions, a lot of the scars that I had internally that I was never aware of. And the interesting thing about that, once we had that conversation, is me coming to the realization that, I have a lot of scars and a lot of trauma related to what happened to me in Iraq, but I have a lot of scars and trauma that I experienced prior to joining the military. So if you take this trauma that was already existing from my childhood, and then now you take the trauma of what I experienced in combat at war, and you put it on top of that, it's easy to just focus on, he is the way he is and feels the way he feels because of what happened to him in Iraq. Well, you can start addressing this, but then you remove it. Well, there's still now this we have to work on. This was my foundation, and my foundation was cracked, and it was not solid, and I was trying to stand on it. And the reality is, when I look at that period of my life now, I realize, as much as I wanted that opportunity to share and speak and impact people, I wasn't ready. I was not ready. That's just the reality. But I thought I was ready. I wanted to be ready. But when my best friend sat me down one night and he told me that I needed to work on healing as a complete person, emotionally, mentally, and I listened to that and I took that into consideration, and I realized what type of person I was starting to turn myself into, that's when I started to turn that corner. That's when I started to truly heal. And that's when I started to see that the opportunities that I always wanted were now starting to present themselves. That's when I got the email to audition to become an actor on a soap opera. I audition, I get the job, and now I'm able to impact people on a different scale, on a larger platform. I go on Dancing with the Stars. Again, I'm still having to prove myself. I'm still having to show people that at the end of the day, like, I have ability. You're the one that's putting the disability on me. And the disability is coming from that closed mind, from the inability to see that I am a asset, not a liability. And I never took it personal beyond that point. For me, it was always like, okay, you don't see it. You don't understand it. It's my job now to persuade you. It's my job now to show you. It's my job to educate you. And I remember that this was a turning point, in my life. Not only were these opportunities presenting themselves, but up until this point, I would always look at people, and I'll be honest and say that maybe I was looking down on people. People would talk about, oh, this is my biggest concern. This is what I have to worry about in my life. And for me, that was really challenging, because I'm thinking to myself, in my case, there are men and women in the military that are overseas, that are at war, that are dying, that are being wounded, that are coming back with physical scars, emotional scars, mental scars, and you're not connected. And I became angry that people weren't aware of the challenges that we face in our community. Well, what I quickly realized what I was doing is I was closing myself off from this opportunity to educate them because of that mindset, because of that attitude. So what I started to do is rethink my approach. What I started to do is think to myself, okay, you know what I got to do then? I got to now understand that I am in this position and I have an opportunity to educate them. I'm an educator now. You're an educator. This is my opportunity now to influence this circle, this group of people that I'm around right now, and hopefully get them to think a little bit differently. Hopefully get them to be appreciative and grateful for what they have in their life. That was the opportunity that the pressure that I put on my own shoulders, that I put on myself, because I realized I was just turning people off. And I took that into my TV career and the opportunities that I had. I approached every time that I was on camera with that same mindset, that I know it's hard for me to walk out in the general public and to reintroduce myself every single day to new audience members. But at the end of the day, I understand why it was important, because I'm one of the representatives. I'm not the only representative or the most notable or most visible. I'm one of the many representatives for our community. And to me, that was still tapping into this element of service. That was my purpose. That's what I love to do. So it was still fulfilling that void that I loved, service. I now am speaking all over the world, and people are seeing these qualities and the value that I bring now to any conference or any gathering. And now I'm doing what I love to do. But I got to tell you that the challenges did not end there. That was not the last time that I had to make a choice in my life in order to have this love and happiness that I have, that I'm surrounded by in my life now. So what I had to do then was, professionally, I'd sort of evolved and understood the things and the steps that I had to take to be successful, traditionally speaking. But personally, I had to now shift as well. And personally, I had to catch up, because I was using my professional career to sort of mask personally what I needed to address. And now I had to slow down professionally and allow my personal life to catch up, because I wasn't completely vulnerable when it came to what's now my wife. I wasn't open and receptive to her being a part of my rope team. And I had to get to a point of sharing, as vulnerable as I was in public. It was very different for me now to be vulnerable with her, because it was going to be on an intimate level, right? She lives with me. She's with me. How is she going to now see everything that I'm exposing of myself? Thoughts, fears. And I quickly realized, oh, she's going to embrace that. Now, don't get me wrong. There were some that I shared that with beforehand, wanted nothing to do with it. And that's okay. It's a lot to take on. I get how I can be. But they weren't ready for that. That wasn't something that they were prepared to take on, because JR had a lot of work to do. And that's okay. but I found ways to pick myself back up and get to the position to now, with my wife and my best friend and the people that I have in my corner, including every single one of you that are tuning in right now, no matter where you are in the world, I know that I can be 100% myself and open and honest about my challenges and fears and concerns. And I know that for many of you, you're going to say, I feel the same exact way. And for many of you, hopefully you're going to reach out to me on social media and say, hey man, I felt the same exact way. This is how I dealt with it. Here's some tools. Because that's what we should be sharing with one another. Tools and tips and how to overcome the challenges that we experience and face in life. So I have found a community. I've built a team. The team that I once had prior to my injury is a very different team that I have now, because they're challenging me. They're holding me accountable. They're allowing me to understand it's okay for me to have certain fears. It's okay for me not to want to be committed. But at the end of the day, they're going to stay on me, because they know that at the end of the day, what I'm about, what I stand for, what I believe in, and they know what I'm trying to accomplish. And so they're going to hold me accountable. That's what you need. That's what we need. We need to get to a place in our world where we're removing stigmas and stereotypes. We're removing labels that have been placed on, other people and ourselves because of someone else's perception, because of someone else's experience, or because I had one experience here. Now I'm going to paint everybody with the same brush and believe that that's going to be the same experience every time I encounter an individual that looks and sounds like that previous experience. That's when we get into trouble. That's when suddenly we're not listening to one another and we're closing our minds and our eyes and our hearts, and we're limiting our ability to actually experience something beautiful and to potentially have an ally, potentially have somebody that is now going to be a part of our team, as equally going to be an advocate and passionate about the work that's incredibly important in our No Barriers community. We are educators. We have this incredible opportunity. We have this incredible ability. But don't just leave it up to JR. Don't just leave it up to Eric. Don't just leave it up to Mandy. Don't just leave it up to all of the other ambassadors for No Barriers. This is something that you as well, you listening, you watching, this is you reading, this is on you as well. This is your responsibility. I need you, you need me. But I got your back. And I know you guys have mine. I know that we're on this rope team together. I know that my wife and my daughter and our two dogs, they're always there for me. They're always going to look after me. They're always going to have my back. They're going to allow me to cry. They're going to allow me to be vulnerable. They're going to allow me to feel weak and say, I don't have it all figured out, and that's okay. They're going to give me that permission to do that, and they're not going to judge me. That's beautiful. That's what it's about. So I challenge every single one of you to continue to be a voice. I challenge every single one of you to continue to use the platform that you have. Don't get caught up in saying, like, I only have 100 people on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter that follow me, or I only have 2,000 people or 10,000 people or whatever the number is. Focus on the people that do follow you and impact them. If you do it organically, if you do it honestly, if you do it from a place of love and from your heart, you'll now start to grow and reach a lot more people. We get so caught up in this place of, I have to build my social media following. And then what happens in doing that is we start to lose our authentic self. Stay true to who you are. Stay true to what you believe. Stay true to what you stand for. Everything else will fall into its place. So, thank you for being a part of this No Barriers community. And if you've already been a part of it, thank you for coming back. I love coming to the No Barriers Summit and No Barriers experiences, because it's a time for me to just sit back and listen and watch and learn. I'm learning from a lot of you in the community. I've learned from so many people. I've created so many great friendships. And that is the beauty about all of this, is finding people that you can connect with, that get you and that you get them, and supporting each other through the challenges and through the difficult times. So, in closing, I thank you. And I leave you with this. Let's use this analogy, for example. Let's say you have 20 bucks in your pocket and you're on your way to lunch, right? And so you're walking down the street with 20 bucks in your pocket and you come across a penny on the sidewalk. And you step right over that penny because you're like, I don't need to pick it up because I have 20 bucks in my pocket. And you keep walking. You get to where you're going to lunch and the person rings you up and they tell you that'll be $20.01. And suddenly you turn around, you're like, where's that penny? I need that penny. And you go back to pick up that penny. It's not there anymore. Someone else picked up the penny. The point of that is, at that particular point in your life, when you came across that penny, you felt like you didn't need it, but you still pick it up. You still put it in your pocket because 5 steps ahead, you may need that penny. 50 steps from then, you'll need that penny. Sometimes 150 steps from that point, you'll need that penny. So no matter what I'm sharing with you or what anybody else in this No Barriers Summit experience is sharing with you, whether you think it resonates with you at that moment or not, you still pick up that penny. You still put it in your pocket. It'll come in handy. Trust me, I guarantee you. Now, there is one of the No Barriers programs that means so much to me, and it's the No Barriers Warriors. And it's a free veteran program that is an opportunity for growth and a catalyst for change, as so many brave men and women just continue to find ways to serve their communities and serve our country. And that is such a beautiful thing. So we have had a number of companies and individuals that have stepped up, that have been there to help us and bring in important awareness to this great work that we're doing with our veterans. So Prudential has decided to sponsor our Warriors track at the summit for the past 3 years. So thank you, Prudential, for doing that incredible work. But today, right now, our friends at Prudential are going to match the first $5,000 worth of gifts that are made on our Text to Pledge site. So this is all you have to do, okay? It's very easy for you and me. All we have to do is text this number and your gift will be matched by Prudential. So pull out your phone. Let's get to it right now. 646-956-2648. I'm going to say it again. 646-956-2648. So again, together we can change the lives of so many brothers and sisters who have been injured while serving our country, and allow them to understand that they can continue to serve in a different way and that their purpose does not have to be lost. They can find it now in our community, which is the No Barriers community. Remember, every single one of you, what's within you is stronger than what's in your way. There's a lot that's in our way in our lives, but we got what it takes. Collectively, we got what it takes. You're not alone. Remember that. Check in on each other. Stay connected with one another. Look after one another. Take care, everyone. This is your friend. This is your homie, J.R. Martinez. Now, I'm going to throw it back to, I don't know which direction, but Dave, back to you in Colorado.
Thank you, JR. I'm back here, right here, JR. Thanks for throwing it back to me, JR. That was an amazing message. I've known JR for many years. He's featured in our Conquer Your Leadership Barriers course, which is online. He's featured in our new book, What's Within You. He's just a wonderful man, a wonderful father, and there's so much that we can learn from him. He teaches the principle we call alchemy to our participants in our online courses and our book, so you should check that out. He's just got so much to share with us. We absolutely loved having you, JR. Thank you. I want to thank Prudential again for being our Veterans Experiences partner. Just as JR mentioned, they're sponsoring our Warriors track. And as JR said, if you make a donation today, Prudential is going to match that donation up to $5,000. we truly can't do the work that we do here at No Barriers. This event, all of the programs that we offer are only possible because of the generous support of people like you, like Prudential, and all of our sponsors. No gift is too small. Every single gift matters. So you can help us change someone else's life by making a small or large gift. It's tax deductible, and you can do it by either going to our expo booth in the donation center or by texting the amount you want to donate to this number behind me. So all you do is you just go into your phone here, you type in the text 646-956-2648, and you type in the amount. See, I'll put in $100 and I send it off. And immediately it just asks me to put in my credit card information, and there you go. You're off and running, helping others have their next No Barriers experience. Now, for those of you who may just be joining us for the first time, we are about to head back to visit with our friend, John Bramblett. John is a painter who uses his sense of touch to paint incredible masterpieces. He started a stunning piece for No Barriers yesterday that we've checked in on a couple times, and he's finishing up today live. He's doing this in Texas, and we're going to join him in just a second. We'll be joining him, but make sure to join us tonight because we will be auctioning off that painting to the highest bidder, as well as a painting from Grace Fisher, who's one of our activities providers. Let's check in with John and see how things are going with his painting. John, how is it going today?
Good morning, Dave, and No Barriers community. It is going great. And can I just say that I'm having a great time at this summit. There's so many inspiring stories. In fact, it got me fired up, and I couldn't wait and already got started painting this morning. But as a reminder, here's what I did yesterday in the painting so far. I have the, so it's going to be mountains with vistas, and so I'm working on the mountains right now. And I have a figure. The figure I'm about to start painting. He's still in black and white. So I drew the figure yesterday. I'm going to get him colored in today. Start adding some beautiful colors, emotion. It's ideas, it's feeling, and so I'm going to try to take everything that I'm listening to from the summit and put it on the canvas here. But I think it's time for me to start painting again. So I'm going to throw it back to you, Dave. Thank you.
Thrilled to have that piece to auction off tonight. You can go into our expo center to the information booth to learn a little bit more about how to participate in that auction. But for now, it is time to head into our activity sessions. We are excited to have you join kind of that, like I mentioned, the heart and soul of the activities. There's some great things for you to try today. Get going on that, and I'll see you back here on the main stage in just a little bit. Thank you so much, everybody. Enjoy your morning.